You're listening to the Next Team podcast.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and a very good evening to you guys. Welcome to the Next Team podcast, F1 episode number. I have absolutely no clue because it's been such a long time since we've done an F1 episode. But yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally doing the F1 summer kind of a breakdown because there's a bit of a summer break, so we thought why not give you guys a little bit of F1 content. But before we dive into our content, Tarun, you have a message for our fans.
That's right, guys. We know we've taken a bit of a break since our last episode, whether it's F1, cricket, or football. But we're back, and we really want to keep going at a more reasonable pace, even though we say this a lot. But yeah, if you want to stay updated with everything that we're doing, all our new episodes, please check us out on Instagram. We're there at the Next Team SG, and also we're on TikTok at the Next Team SG as well. And that's where we'll be posting snippets and highlights from our videos. And we're also on Spotify and YouTube. So please check us out on both these places. Subscribe to us, follow us. We're there on both these places as the Next Team podcast. And in our next football episode, if you're interested in football, we have some special, very exciting news coming up for you. So stay tuned for that as well. But I'm not going to tell you what it is now.
Yes, stay tuned for that news for the future, guys. And thank you so much, Tarun. So yes, please do listen to our message man, Tarun, and do follow us on the social. We really, really appreciate your support. But enough of the admin stuff. Let's get straight into it. It's just 3 days after the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's Wednesday, and there's literally fireworks every single day since, well, I would say technically since Sunday. But before we begin into all the silliness of this summer transfer window, what it's bringing up for the F1 silly season, let's talk a little bit about the season and how it's been unfolding in the previous few rounds. I believe the last episode we did was Australian Grand Prix, which was literally round 3. And now we are I believe 12 rounds
13.
in.
I think we just finished 13.
Yeah, you see 13 rounds in. So 10 rounds afterwards, we are finally doing an F1 episode. So there's lots of things to digest, but I guess the main thing to digest is just Ferrari taking L's, or shall we say the clown factory in the Formula One world. So Tarun, what do you think? Ferrari, what's going wrong there?
It just seems to me like a total breakdown of any sort of tactical know-how, any sort of competence as a team. It's just like they're going through the motions. They have no idea what they're doing, and they're not going through the motions very well. So it's just, everything is going wrong. France, we saw driver error, which, I thought it was not a driver error, and then it turned out it was. And in pretty much every other race, we've seen some sort of mistake from the team. We've seen a reliability issue, and that has cost them in some way or another. And it's just, look, I don't know if it's bad luck. I don't know if they just cursed straight up. But everything has just been falling apart since Australia, I think.
Yeah, since Australia. Right? No, they won Austria as well. Leclerc won in Austria, but then apart from that, it's just been a downhill battle for Leclerc at least. I mean, Sainz got his first win at Silverstone.
Watching Austria, I was like, hey, maybe Ferrari have a chance to come back in this. Maybe they can still mount a title challenge in either championship. But I think in the ensuing races, we have realized that is out of the question now. Yeah.
They just get your hopes up and then squash it back immediately the very next race.
I'm not even a Ferrari fan, and I'm disappointed, man. I cannot imagine what it's like for the Tifosi out there.
It's okay, man. I completely understand. As an Arsenal fan, I have very good first-hand experience of that feeling. So,
yeah,
but not now. But
that's for
we'll talk all about
episode.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's for another episode. We'll talk about all of the football. Do stay tuned for our, I believe we have a summer transfer window special coming up, as well as our season prediction video very soon for football.
Yep.
So do stay tuned for that. But getting back to topic, I mean, what I feel about Ferrari, the issue is that there's lots of, I feel firstly it's the pressure of just being a Ferrari driver. And that gets to not just the driver, but it gets to the team as well. Like that pressure of just having the name or the brand Ferrari on your shirt every day, working for them. I mean, I can imagine how much stress, how much pressure such a job is. I mean, they haven't won a world championship since 2007, I believe 7.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, if my stats wrong, please do not butcher me. But Yeah, but I believe 2007 because I think Kimi was the last one who won the
Yeah, that is correct.
championship. Yeah. So since then, it's always been it's been a up and down cycle for Ferrari. Sometimes they have a really good car, but then strategies are always the ones putting them off. Sometimes it's driver error, and I felt that this is it's just like a Ferrari tradition now, where these things keep happening over and over again. Especially when Leclerc crashed in France, it hit me. It immediately gave me flashbacks of Seb crashing in Germany 2018.
2018.
Yes, immediately, without anything. I was like, Leclerc crash. Oh shit, that's reminiscence of what happened to Seb. And then since then, after that race, Seb just fell down.
Yep.
It hurt his confidence. Everything just went downhill for him, and he lost the championship in the end. And I mean, right now, it's honestly talking about championship shouldn't even be a question in my opinion, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But
I mean, it's quite an interesting parallel to draw, I think, between Germany 2018, France 2022.
Exactly. And I felt that
it's just that kind of incident that just takes the wind out of your sails.
Yeah.
And it's just.
And another thing which also strikes me is that maybe, not in 2018 or maybe even 20, I can't remember exactly, but I believe Ferrari had the quickest, if not at least on par car with Mercedes, like how they have with Red Bull right now. And look at the stats don't lie. Ferrari has gotten pole positions more than Red Bull this season. Leclerc has been on pole, but he's only converted, I believe, one or two of those 2 wins. Or actually even one, I think. I don't think he started on pole in Austria. I can't remember now. But I mean, this just shows the difference in Ferrari having a really good. It's not that they do not have a bad race car. Maybe there's 1 or 2 odd races where it happens, but then it's time and time again. It's reliability. Firstly, it's secondly, it's the strategy, and lastly, all of that accumulates where it gets too much pressure to the driver that he makes a mistake in the end. So, yeah, I mean, I feel sad for Leclerc, but on the bright side, I guess I wouldn't say Sainz had the easiest time either. I believe the start of the season was really tough for him, but he got back really well.
I think he's growing into the role at Ferrari much better now. And he's doing
definitely
really well as a number 2, something like a 1.5 kind of driver.
He's
not
definitely
really number 2, but he's not going to be number 1 when you have Charles in the team. But yeah, he's doing pretty well. I think it's kind of matching, if not maybe even better than Perez is doing as the second driver for Red Bull.
I would say lately, yeah, definitely. I think the past 2 races have shown, I think even Sainz was the quickest on overall pace in the past 2 races, I think. What was the last race? France, I think he had a penalty.
He was the fastest in France, easily. And I think Hungary, maybe not that much.
But he was still pretty quick.
Race, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I feel definitely since the start of the season, Sainz has improved drastically to what he is now. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's the same things which are hurting Ferrari, on and on. It's even Sainz is having a lot of reliability issues. He's already taken a power unit penalty. I won't be surprised if that comes for Leclerc soon as well, at some point, to take a power unit penalty. So, I mean, I honestly feel that moving forward this season, it's pretty much game over for Ferrari in terms of Drivers' Championship. But the biggest question now is that Mercedes are right on their tail.
Exactly. Their fight is no longer for number 1, it's for number 2 at this point. I would honestly say for both championships, they're fighting for number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I mean, what started off as such a promising season is turning into a bit of despair for Ferrari fans. Exactly. But who knows? I mean, there's still 9 races to go. Maybe someone spikes Red Bull's engine, hopefully everyone kills Ferrari. They get 4 or 5 DNFs, and then suddenly Charles wins everything. Who knows? It's a funny old, F1 is a really funny old game, basically.
I believe Max can afford to DNF three races now without losing the lead in championship.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's lots of he has a lot of leeway basically.
Hmm.
So
80-point lead,
it's
yes, that's correct.
honestly, yeah. And he doesn't even need to think of the championship at this point. He just needs to run his race and finish, and
Yeah.
he'll win the championship, in
Exactly.
my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, so that actually brings us to a really good segue for our next segment. So after talking about, what's going wrong with Ferrari, I wanted to talk a little bit of the championship as well, where we already kind of got into it, but I wanted to get into a little bit more detail on especially Mercedes now that they have a really, really, well, I wouldn't say really quick car, but they are definitely closing the gap to the top two teams. And
One of the top
with
two
a
teams
really
at
good,
least, yeah.
yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, yeah, what do you think? Do you think Mercedes will overtake Ferrari in the drivers' championship? Not drivers, but at least constructors' championship.
I think there is a chance at constructors because maybe not on pace, like it's quite unlikely that Mercedes will have a car faster than the Ferrari at the end of season, by the end of season. But given Ferrari's knack for just mishaps in general, and Mercedes has kept it very tidy almost every race this season.
They've hardly had reliability issues actually.
No, yeah,
thinking about
reliability
it.
has not been an issue, and drivers as well have been
It's just the pace of
really
the car.
clean throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's that is something that Mercedes can fight for at this point. They can fight for second place in constructors for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, drivers is a different story. I think it would be hard to even breach like top 3 lah. There is a chance.
Yeah, true.
A small
I would
chance.
say there's a chance. Yeah, but you really need Mercedes to be the second fastest car if for that to happen. I mean, there's still 9 races to go, so
Correct.
there's still plenty of time and for Mercedes to turn that around. And in my opinion, I do think Mercedes have a really good shot at being second. But
I mean, right now they're only 30 points behind Ferrari.
Exactly.
So they could make it up in the next race, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why it's very much possible, but at the same time, I mean, I know I shouldn't get my hopes up. I'm not even a Ferrari fan. I don't know why I'm getting my hopes up, but like I feel Ferrari won't be that bad. Like they will have a really good cool down in the summer break. They'll be like, oh, they'll discuss everything, understand where they've gone wrong. And the main department they have gone wrong is definitely the strategies, where from winning races, they have hampered Leclerc so much. Silverstone, Hungary as well recently. Yeah, so it's this thing. Sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you can fix reliability issues. You can like tune out driver errors here and there, but you cannot race with such a big hole in your strategic team every single race. It's probably the worst thing that could happen to you as a championship fighting team.
And the funny thing, which I always feel, is that they always give Sainz sort of the better strategy on paper, thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they don't intend to do it. I know in Silverstone, they weren't meaning to give Sainz a better strategy. They thought they were giving him the worst option by bringing him in. But that ended up being the better option on track.
The funny thing is, I believe F1 actually posted this video of how Sainz, like you can go check it out afterwards. They have this video on their official F1 YouTube channel. They posted a video of how Sainz won the Grand Prix. And in the Grand Prix, I realized when the safety car came out for Ocon, right? I believe who parked his car.
Yeah.
Leclerc was right at the the entry of the pit window, and he was asking his engineer, "Should I come into the pit?" But then his engineers told him, "No, the pit window is closed, so don't come in." So they just left him out, but they brought Sainz, who was like 2-3 seconds behind him, just in. So I mean, I don't know what the Ferrari guys were thinking. I guess they thought that having track position would be better. So maybe they thought that.
Yeah, they did. I think there was something about it mentioned after the race that I read. They did think that leaving him out on track would be better because they would have track position ahead of the rivals and Sainz would be there to sort of hold off whoever might be coming into attack. But, Sainz had other ideas. And obviously having track position was not ideal with the number of laps left.
Absolutely. And the other thing was Leclerc was on the hard tires, whereas everyone, Hamilton, everyone was on soft.
Everyone else came in for Softs, yeah.
Softs, yeah. So the gap was way too big. I feel what they could have done is even if they lost track position, you would always back Ferrari to have the fastest car to overtake them.
Exactly.
And I feel that's
Yeah.
what Ferrari are really afraid of doing.
Mm.
And it's the same thing which happened in Hungary just 3 days ago,
Yep.
where Leclerc was on the hards again. Verstappen pit for the mediums. Instead of trusting in their driver, trusting that they have the pace to go long, they went for the overcut of one lap and used the completely wrong tires, which weren't working. When they had like so much of data available, like you had the Alpines running the hard tires, you had the
Precisely.
Haas running
That is
the
the
hard
thing.
tires.
Like people sitting at home watching the race could have told you that the hard was a very, very bad tire to go on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, I mean, the drivers would have told you that. We saw Max and Lewis laughing at it in the cool-down room.
In the cool down
afterwards.
room. It's so
So,
funny.
yeah. So it was just, there's no reason at all to put him on the hards. He himself had said just before he stopped that his tires were fine and he could go longer.
Mm.
So just keep him out. And when he has a problem, then you should be evaluating it again. You shouldn't be trying to put him on the hards until the end at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's I feel sad for Leclerc, honestly. Like, there's so many times I've seen him deflated just because of the team. I mean, yeah, there's a couple driver errors here and there, which he's, the biggest critics of himself. But
Yep.
I would say more than he disappointed himself, the team have disappointed him more, in my opinion, this
For
season.
sure. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's hard as a driver where you finally have a chance for fighting for the world championship. Everything just slips by you. With some things, yeah, because of you, but some things which are completely not in control of yourself. It's frustrating, It's like trying to do something which you think is going to work, but then at the same time, there's something happening which you can't control, which is completely going to ruin your plan.
Exactly.
So,
I
yeah,
mean,
I guess
it's basically what we've been seeing since Monaco?
yeah. It's
Just
sad.
incompetence.
It is. And I believe this is where Ferrari needs to be more trustworthy in their drivers, where let's say if your driver gives you feedback, trust the driver, go on his instinct, because he's the one driving the car. Yes, you may have data saying, x-axis tires like this one, you're going to have this much of pace.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, the driver is the one who makes the difference. Data is just a visualization for you to, see the bigger picture. It may be correct sometimes, but then at the same time, they should allow the driver a bit of freedom. And I feel that's where, Ferrari basically lack. Like this, you know yourself as a Mercedes fan, how many times Hamilton's team engineers come to the radio, oh, you need to box. And then Hamilton's like questioning, oh, no, I don't think it's the right time. We should go long and stuff. And he actually goes long, and it pays dividends to him back at the end of the race.
Exactly.
So at least then, right? If let's say Leclerc makes a call, he can take himself, oh, maybe it was my call, it's my blame, I made a mistake.
Correct.
So in that way, he wouldn't feel that deflated as well, because it's not something which is out of his control. He made a choice, it was the wrong choice, he'll admit it. So
yeah, and I think on the flip side, I think the drivers need to have a bit more faith in themselves as well, particularly Charles. He needs to learn to make his own call sometimes. If he doesn't want to come in, don't come in. He has to learn how to make the strategy for himself. This was something we saw Seb was a genius at, of course, He was...
Actually, even if you think of it, Sainz as well, in Silverstone.
Exactly.
When they
Sainz made the call to go and attack in Silverstone and he won the race. So I think he's doing all right with it. He knows how to get his calls in, but Charles needs to put a little less faith in the team and a little more faith in himself.
Yeah, he just needs to be more assertive towards his team.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's just he needs a bit more experience as well to learn, how to craft his own strategy on the go. But I think that is something he needs to work on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Just a fun stat for you. If I'm not wrong, the last time when Ferrari, like before Kimi, Michael Schumacher came in, the only reason, or not the only reason, I mean, of course, Ferrari had a really quick car when Michael was there. But I read this recently that Michael actually brought his own team members into the team, which actually kind of paid dividends for him to win a championship. It's like, how you're in a football manager, you bring your own squad along with you to manage the team. I believe Schumacher probably did something like that.
Right.
But it just shows that, if you have your own people around, I mean, I'm not saying Leclerc should do that. I'm just saying that maybe there needs to be a bit more of that connection between him and the team engineers to
Yeah, something
actually,
just to put him a little bit more at home, a bit more comfortable with the team.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
obviously not saying that he's not gelled with the team right now, because I think he is, but
Yes, yeah.
sometimes you just need a little bit extra.
Yeah, he just needs to be more assertive. That's my opinion.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I guess that wraps up the discussion for the Ferrari and a little bit of the Drivers' Championship and the constructors. We had a chat about it as well. But just looking a little bit down the grid, let's have a quick chat about how the other teams are doing. Let's go with, let's say, McLaren and Alpine first, since they're fighting for the fourth position. And I believe McLaren are ahead right now, aren't they? Are they? Or is it Alpine?
Let me see. It is Alpine. Yes, they are ahead by
It's
4
Alpine.
points though. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a big difference.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that fight going on?
See, both of these teams, I have no idea where to put them every single weekend. Particularly Alpine, because one weekend they're so good, and the next they're like somewhere fighting for Q2. So
Okay.
yeah, it's been very inconsistent from Alpine, I would say. And with the new news coming out of Alpine as well, that's
We'll get
to be
back
talked
to it in a
about
bit.
in a short while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, look, Alonso has been great. I think Ocon has also been great. Alonso has been a bit unlucky this season. And if he didn't have certain reliability issues and stuff, he could have Alpine would be quite a bit further ahead, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And going back to the McLaren side, it's just not been a good season for Ricciardo in particular.
Yeah.
It's been something we've talked about ever since he joined McLaren.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know what it is. At first I thought maybe it's just a car. He's not used to the car yet, or maybe it's just not very comfortable with the team. But when you've been there for this period of time, I think you need to have a
It's
certain
1.5
level
years
of,
already, man.
yeah, you need to be used by now. And if you're not performing at the same standard as your teammate at the very least, then there's something wrong. You are definitely underperforming.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. Like, to me, the way this McLaren versus Alpine battle is right now, it's 1v2. It's
Yes,
Lando
exactly.
versus Norris and Alonso and Ocon.
Yeah.
Because Ricciardo is just not getting. He's only got what, I think 19 points or something. Like, it's around that figure pop.
He's
and
very low in the standings.
And reading from like a statistics I read recently is that he has not, like, compared to last season, he's like 50 or 60% points down on what he has scored currently at the same stage of the season. So it just shows how much Ricciardo is underperforming. And as much as you want to show,
on the one hand, you can say that is because the McLaren has been slower this season compared to what it was last season. Last season, they were easily top 3 or top 4 contenders.
Yeah.
But this season they've been like bang average midfield. They're quite a bit off the pace compared to the top 2 teams, even compared to Mercedes. So yeah, I think.
I mean, you could use that as an argument, but I felt that when you have Lando performing as well as he's doing, getting most of the points, I believe Lando is in like 50 point something mark already. Is it? You can just
should be a
quick
little
check for
bit
me.
more. He's a 76. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I underestimated Lando. Yeah. So
as opposed
you
to
see
Ricciardo's 19. Yeah.
19. Yeah. I mean, you see that gap is, I think, one of the largest gaps in the grid as well in terms of the driver pairing championship points distance. And this is hurting McLaren, because otherwise I genuinely feel McLaren would probably be quite higher up than Alpine at the current moment. If they had a driver who's performing on Lando, if not at least on par with Lando. And ultimately it costs a lot of money, being 4th or 5th, it's millions of dollars we're talking about. And
yeah, for sure.
And looking at the way it's all panning out, I do have a feeling that McLaren are going to leave Ricciardo at the end of the season. And we'll talk about it in a while, of course, with everything going on. But things just do not look great for Ricciardo, in my opinion. And as much as you want to feel sorry for him, you can't, because there's just no excuses now. He's been there for...
It's been 1.5 years, like you said. It's going to be 2 years soon. It should have sorted it out by now.
Yeah, definitely. And Ricardo was not brought to the team to be where he is. He was brought to the team to be the one leading Lando, but Lando's the one leading him. So yeah, just I guess that I have a feeling this relationship might end pretty soon for Ricardo and McLaren.
Yeah.
All right, and let's just a little bit go down the grid now for the rest of the teams. Any particular thoughts for the rest of the teams?
I just want to say AlphaTauri have been a bit underperforming this season, if you ask me.
Okay.
I did not see them standing down in 8th, below Haas, below Alfa Romeo.
Okay.
I really expected them to be a bit more competitive in midfield, at least with alongside, maybe just behind, maybe not alongside, maybe just behind the likes of McLaren and Alpine. So it's been a bit of a letdown this season. I think like neither of the drivers have been particularly impressive, but Gasly has been a bit disappointing for me. He had a very strong season last season, and really would have expected him to put in a similar shift this season, but it's not going great for him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel just talking on the point of Gasly, I feel that he has an issue with sprint races where he always crashes out in the sprint. So he has to start at the back of the grid for Sunday or something like that. So that's one of the reasons why I feel also he's a bit underperforming. But yeah, I do agree. I feel AlphaTauri, I wouldn't say they're a quick package this season in general. I think car has been a letdown. I feel the drivers are letting down as well, like Yuki crashing into Gasly in Silverstone. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then one thing I would say is that I do see Yuki a lot closer to Gasly this season.
That is correct. I don't know if it's Yuki moving up or Gasly moving down though.
True. That's a fair point. Yeah. It's a fair argument you could make, I guess. But yeah, I mean it's I guess, for a team like AlphaTauri, it wouldn't hurt too bad to be around that ball range, because ultimately it's a B team for Red Bull. You just want to give drivers of Red Bull some time in their car and just develop them. But I wouldn't be surprised if Pierre would start looking for other seats very soon, because I do feel like he's not going to get a chance in the Red Bull family again.
Yeah,
as much as I would love him to, but
very unlikely. Yeah,
it's very unlikely. Yeah. And I feel as usual, I think the other teams around them, Haas has been really good in particular.
Haas has been, I don't know, they started really well.
Inconsistent.
They
a bit
started
inconsistent.
the season very well. Like, we saw K-Mag and Mick having some great performances. Then they dropped off in the middle, and then they had a pretty good showing at Austria and a couple races after that.
Yeah, even Silverstone, where Mick got his first points as well.
Oh, right, yes. That was a good race for Mick. So yeah, it's just been a bit inconsistent. They need to start, leveling it out and making sure they can get decent points every week.
Yeah. True. And I guess Williams has nothing really much to add. Albon just doing his own thing. By the way, congratulations. Yes, Alex Albon
signed.
Just 42 minutes ago signed a long-term multi-year deal, by the way. So it's not like a short-term deal as well. So it's quite a surprise move, I guess that just confirms that Albon is no longer part of Red Bull family, in my opinion.
Seems like it.
Because initially it looked like he was just going to be there for a year or two, and then he would make a switch back maybe to Red Bull. Who knows? Perez might move elsewhere, but it seems like, I think Albon's going to be a long-term driver for Williams now. So I guess that's his chance of being a Red Bull driver again, in my opinion.
I mean, it is a good thing for both him and for Williams, I would say. Because for Williams, it kind of shows that, they have the intent. They're not settling for maybe a worse driver. And they're committing this guy who's, he's quite a decent driver, committing him to a multi-year contract. So yeah, it's a good thing for them. And of course, I think if you're Albon, your chances of getting a drive back at Red Bull, at either Red Bull team, is quite slim at this point. They have youth drivers coming up, and they have pretty good options for both teams. So I think it's a good deal for both sides. So it's good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy for him as well. And just a special shout out to Gotifi for getting P1 in FP3 in Hungary. Yeah. First time we have seen Williams on the top step for, I guess, in Spa last year.
Oh,
was it second? No, George got pole.
second, right?
George got pole, I think. Was it? No,
No,
I
he
can't
didn't get-
remember.
No, you
Did
didn't
he?
get pole in
Oh yeah,
in Spa.
second.
It was
Yes.
Max who got pole. Yeah.
Oh yes, second. Now I remember. Yeah, so I guess just a special shout out to Gotifi.
Mhm.
But yes, I think moving on, we haven't spoken about the very big breaking news which broke a lot of our hearts when we read it, and that's of course that Sebastian Vettel is going to be retiring at the end of the season. So Tarun, what were your first emotions, thoughts? Just rant it out, my friend.
I was honestly just like, why him? Why him? Why now? He's young. He's got years left in him. But okay, I think I can see why he wants to retire, and it's obviously it is something that I do support. He's accomplished so much, and I think sometimes his accomplishments go under the radar.
Definitely.
When you think about it, he's a 4-time world champion, and sometimes it doesn't feel like he gets the respect he deserves as a 4-time world champion. And again, I would like to blame Ferrari for that, as well as Aston Martin to some extent. But yeah, it's one of the two drivers who I loved when I got into F1, and it hit very hard that he's going to be retiring. Won't be seeing him anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be very honest with you. When I started watching Formula One, I was a Lewis Hamilton fan. So I wouldn't say I hated Sebastian Vettel, but I was definitely a rival against Sebastian.
Yeah.
Because when I truly started watching Formula One, it was 2014, I believe. And that was a season when he was still in Red Bull. He underperformed. He got beaten by Ricciardo, and next year he made his Ferrari switch. And since then, I mean, even the Ferrari for the first 2 years, 2 years, they weren't as competitive. He was still a rival for Lewis, So back then I was like, wasn't really a big fan of him. I was, Lewis Hamilton. But then as I grew up, I became more mature. I realized the accomplishments he has made since basically he started his career. He gave Toro Rosso their first ever Grand Prix win in their homeland as well, in Monza. He is the youngest ever world champion in Formula One history. His 4 consecutive world titles at his age as well, when he was pretty young, and all his glory came in the very early years of his career. And that switch to Ferrari, which is made, I wouldn't say was a wrong move, but I would say that I believe when he hangs his boots at the end of the season, he would definitely have regrets that he did not win anything with Ferrari.
Yeah, for sure.
Neither the drivers nor the constructors. And I mean, that also shows the dominance Mercedes had. But as much as you can praise Mercedes, you have to also look at those seasons when Seb was at Ferrari. It was his own doing plus the team as well. Again, like how we were talking about before. So, and I guess Aston was just a move by him to sort of keep his fingers crossed that this team in a couple of years' time will be at the front. And it doesn't turn out well. So, and with all his beliefs of, the environment, and it kind of contradicts what, being an F1 driver and being an environmentalist.
Exactly. You can't really have both at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel he has really strong beliefs of trying to make a difference in the motorsport in terms of diversity and all, climate change and everything. And and I guess also all these years while he was away, he felt that, it's time that he spends more time with his family as well. So it is very sad, but I wish him all the best for his future. And I hope to see him in some form of racing, like, he can just do some GT car racing, which is on and off once in a while. just we get to see a bit of Seb back on track. That'll be great.
Oh, yeah, of course. That'll be nice.
That'll be nice, yeah. But sorry for the emotional tribute for Seb, because
no, I mean, he's such a great character on and off the track.
Absolutely.
Such an intelligent racer. It's good. There's a lot of things to miss about him.
Definitely. And I think he would be I think people only realize how much he was so vital to that front paddock when he's left the paddock. Yeah, like they won't feel the difference when he's there, but they'll feel it when he has left. So I wish him all the best, and I wish Aston all the best as well, because they have come in with another danger, which we'll talk in very shortly. All right. So moving on to the final segment for our podcast today, let's talk about the silly transfer season, which all kicked off, of course, as we spoke about Sebastian Vettel's retirement, that left a vacant seat at Alpha. Well, why was I going to say Alpha? It's Aston Martin.
Aston Martin, yeah.
Yes, it left a vacant seat for Aston Martin, and guess who was there to pounce right on it? El Plan, Fernando Alonso, who, well, to be honest, it came as a shock, didn't it, to everyone when it was announced on the Monday after the Hungarian Grand Prix.
See,
When
if it came
there's
as a shock to us, there's nothing surprising. But the fact that it came as a shock to his own team, that is,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. So let's just try and unpack it bit by bit. So what happened was, of course, Sebastian on the Thursday of the Hungarian Grand Prix announced his retirement. And that kind of announced to the world that, hey, there's a seat at Aston Martin. Whoever wants it, come and get it.
Mhm.
And over the weekend, we didn't hear any speculations at all. There was literally no paddock talk, nothing about the second Aston seat, because everyone was focused on the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yep.
Everyone wanted to go on a really nice summer vacation after the Hungarian Grand Prix. But yeah, I guess El Plan had very different plans. He was secretly talking behind Otmar's back with Daddy Stroll, and figuring all his details out. And I believe the reason why Fernando left, in my opinion, Alpine, honestly, I think every one of us thought that he would probably sign on with Alpine because they seem to have a pretty decent bond until as of a little bit of late, like the past couple of races. But I believe Alpine did not want to give Alonso a multi-year contract.
Mhm.
I think it was a 1
It
plus
was
1 year
reported that
contract.
they wanted to give one with an option for second. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And on a logical perspective, it made sense because Fernando's 41 years old now.
Exactly.
So,
You wouldn't want to tie down someone at that age on a multi-year
Yeah.
contract, I think. So you can't
Exactly.
really blame Alpine for doing what they did.
wanting that, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Alpine had this rising star in Oscar Piastri waiting to get that seat. So in their mind, they were like, oh, we get Oscar a seat elsewhere for a season or two. Fernando hangs his boots. He comes back to our team.
Exactly.
And we're sorted for another 4 or 5 years, whatever it is.
Mm.
Yeah, but El Plan had really different plans, as you mentioned. Decided to ditch Aston. Well, not Aston. Why am I always messing up the team names today?
It's all the A's. It's too many
Yeah, it's
A's
all the
on the table.
Exactly. There's too many A's in the championship. But yeah, decided to ditch Alpine. And now he's made a move switch to Aston Martin. And there was actually, like you mentioned, it was a shock to Alpine because when it was announced, Alpine themselves did not know that, Fernando was going until they read the Twitter statement by Alpine saying that, hey, he has joined us from 2023 onwards on a
Statement by
multi-year contract.
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin, yeah. And then a couple of hours later is when they released their own statement thanking Fernando and wish him the best. Which, I mean, what must have gone in the Enstone factory? I would really love to see some, behind the scenes, like Otmar's Nest having his house on fire in the middle of Monday morning, getting a call that, oh shit, Fernando is, sinking the ship, basically. Yeah, but then, so that was the first move which happened. So that, of course, brought us to the second seats available now at Alpine. And Alpine did a very cheeky move last night, announcing Oscar Piastri on their Twitter platform, which we all thought, that's probably going to happen. Oscar, 100% Alpine driver now.
Right.
But guess what? Oscar had different plans of himself. He decided
Oscar
to...
and Mark Webber had different plans, apparently.
Yes. I feel that Oscar, Webber, and Alonso planned this whole stitch against Alpine. That's my
I would not be
conspiracy
surprised
theory.
at all. Yeah, it does not surprise me in the least if they did.
Yeah. So, because probably Alonso was like, I don't know, pissed with Alpine for some reason. And then he knows that Oscar wants a seat. And Oscar is also not really keen on going to Alpine in a way. I mean, because he had offers from McLaren, he had offers from Williams as well, I believe. So he had options, and he had 3 teams basically fighting for his services. So I think El Plan saw all of that. And, on the Thursday of the Hungarian Grand Prix, decided, okay, we're going to execute the El Plan number 1. And so far it's worked really well for him. And did you see, by the way, I don't know if you saw Alonso, right? Right when Oscar Piastri put his statement out,
Mhm.
he posted a photo on Instagram of him jogging something and giving a thumbs up.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
saw that. I saw that.
that was just such a cheeky move by him. But yeah,
Look,
coming back to
I really have no idea what to make of this whole situation. Like, on the one hand, like, I think Alpine were justified in what they wanted from Alonso. And
Mhm.
I really do think that Alonso was wrong to go behind the back and sign a deal with Aston or whatever. But on the other hand, can you imagine how it would be if Alonso's relationship with Lawrence Stroll doesn't go well? If they don't give him a good car for next year, can you imagine the scenes? Just
Yeah, yeah.
imagine what he did at McLaren back in the day. Throw that in.
I know.
Now you throw in Lawrence Stroll. Oh, that is going to be amazing.
But
I just
I
want to
believe
watch
this
that
time,
happen.
yeah, but I believe this time it'll be a bit different because he signed a multi-year contract. So I'm pretty sure he only signed that on behalf of thinking that, oh, maybe in the next 2-3 years, I would say 2, maybe not 3. 3 is too far-fetched, but at least 2 years, Aston would get to the front. So by 2024, they'll get to the front. Or at least that's what I feel. I mean, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't want to be trying to drive this Aston when he's 45 years old and be at the
I
back
guess
of
not.
the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But that
yeah,
is
so that was all.
slightly wishful thinking, I would say.
Yeah, it is definitely. But
Yeah,
coming
but now
back
we
to
have
the story,
to address the gaps that has left in the team. Because now, I mean, we won't see Piastri in that Alpine second seat. So who's going to take that second seat? Would it
yeah,
be
that's a big
Ricciardo?
question.
Like,
That's
I
a
feel
big
like
question. Yeah.
I feel like Ricciardo returning to Alpine, like slash Renault, would be. It's not out of the question, but then again,
I mean, they just left. They broke up 2 years ago, man. How can you go back to an ex of 2 years ago? And it's also not like they broke up on happy terms. They had a really
yeah, exactly. It
very, very bad
wasn't a good
breakup.
exit as well. So
Yeah.
what does that mean for Ricciardo then? Does he not have a seat next year? Is he gonna go to some other team and spark some huge circle of drivers going around
Yeah.
this silly season? And who's gonna take that Alpine seat now? Is it gonna be Hulkenberg? Are they gonna dig deep into some other teams' rookies? It's I don't know.
I mean, okay, the names I'm hearing now is that so firstly, one thing we should actually really look at this is that when Oscar announced his statement, right, he said he will not be driving for Alpine in 2023.
Yeah.
So when I looked at it at the statement, I was like, that pretty much means that he already has a seat secured elsewhere in the team.
Yeah, because he didn't say that he didn't sign a contract with Alpine. He said, I will not be driving for Alpine at all. He's basically shut the door. It's not he's not saying don't come in. He just slammed the door.
He said that he didn't
face.
sign a contract with Alpine and he's not driving for Alpine.
Exactly.
So like he said this both two things. So I really feel he has a contract elsewhere on the grid as well. But then where is he having a contract? That's a big question. Is it McLaren, who is rumored? Is it that second Williams seat?
Seem to be McLaren. I don't think he's going to be going for a second Williams seat because they kind of need Latifi around. And they just signed Albon on a multi-year contract. So it seems unlikely to be with the Williams seat.
But I mean, he could still go to the Williams because, so I mean, it's just conspiracy theories again. You see, we all know Piastri wants to win the world championship like any driver, basically. Yeah. But he knows that he probably would not get that at Alpine, which is why Alpine did this whole plan of getting his really, well, I was going to say son, but his very, this protege, basically, to a good car seat. And I'm hearing rumors that, he could either go to AlphaTauri to be like a second Red Bull driver, so that in the future he gets promoted to Red Bull team. Or he goes to Williams as a second driver, like in the Mercedes program, and gets promoted to Mercedes when who is that? Hamilton retires. I mean, these are just rumors flying around, and we can all speculate and just think of all the crazy scenarios which can happen because of all of this drama going on.
Would you consider the Haas or the Alfa Romeo as a second Ferrari seat, maybe?
I mean, yeah, that could be actually. Could be. But I feel Ferrari, they have their eyes set on
Yeah, that's true.
Sainz,
They wouldn't
Leclerc.
be changing their
And
lineup
even if
anytime
one
soon.
of them leaves, I have a very strong feeling they would put Mick Schumacher in just because of the
Mm,
Schumacher name.
true.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's I guess gives us a lot of conspiracy theories to talk about. But I do agree with you. I feel he may sign for McLaren because McLaren, of course, wants to be at the top. And I
Mm,
feel out of all the teams which you talked about, I feel McLaren have the best shot of being at the top.
yeah.
Or going to the top at least, in my opinion. Because we know Lando is no pushover. If Lando does not get a good car, Lando's going to leave. He'll probably go to Mercedes. I
Yeah.
have a feeling.
Mm,
Then
yeah,
so
possible.
yeah, so these are the things which I feel that probably, and also the fact of Ricardo not performing is a big factor here.
I think that's probably the biggest reason why a link to McLaren seems the most likely option right now. Because I would say, I mean, Ricciardo is one of the most underperforming drivers on the grid right now.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, yes, he is.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that if anyone had to be replaced, he would probably be number one on the list. And McLaren know that, and McLaren need another driver who can take that spot. And
Yeah,
Piastri
definitely.
is kind of he's probably like the perfectly placed
Fit.
driver
Yeah.
right now. He's young, he's very talented, and
Mhm.
hopefully he's fast. So yeah, I mean, why wouldn't McLaren want him?
It would basically be a Hamilton Russell kind of pairing where you have Lando sort of in the Hamilton role of being the leader in the team, being
Right.
ultra quick, and then you have this Piastri who's like the Russell being really quick on his own as well.
But I
And
think the
it
difference
becomes a good pairing.
but the difference is that Hamilton is kind of at the end of his career. He's going to be retiring soon, so Russell
Yeah.
is poised to take over the team.
Yeah,
You
poised
don't
to take
have
over
that
the
with
team very
Lando
soon.
and Piastri. You're going to have
Yeah,
two number one
true.
drivers. I'm thinking Hamilton and Rosberg at this point.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if they do have a very good championship winning car, then
Of course.
equally both are number one drivers in that case. But then where would Ricardo go, man? That leaves Ricardo in the
Exactly,
open.
that's the question
Back-
now. Would
Back to
Ricciardo
Alpine.
just go? Would he maybe go to Williams?
Yeah,
Like-
that's an option, Williams.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
it's
okay,
a lot
to be very
questions.
honest with you, right? Just thinking about it now, Albon has signed a multi-year deal with Williams.
Mhm.
And we know Albon probably wants to win the championship as well because we know he's a very quick driver.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, what if maybe Ricardo believes in all of this plan and goes to Williams instead? Could be possible. And he needs a place where he can feel loved again. Because I feel that the love with McLaren is dying a bit now because just of the way he is performing. Like Zach Brown has been coming out in the media as well, speaking about how he's unhappy with Ricardo and stuff like that.
True.
And I mean, of course, he has full support of the team, but it's just that, the team around him feels deflated when he's not getting results in. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll know in later 2-3 weeks, maybe.
Hopefully, I
who
cannot
goes where.
sit through the break without knowing how this is going to end. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so the reason why all of this kicked off is because I believe Piastri had the 31st August deadline in his contract.
I see.
Where Alpine need to inform him if he's going to get the next seat or he's free to talk to any other team or something like that. And as we all know, everything happened so quickly. Alonso announced on, I believe, 1st of August. 2nd of August was Piastri's announcement, which didn't go well.
Yep.
So you see, everything's moving really quickly, and I won't be surprised if tomorrow morning I wake up with a new breaking news in the Formula One world.
I mean, honestly, it honestly might. I've been checking my phone like every 10 minutes to see if there's any updates, anything new.
Yeah. I mean, I woke up at 5 a.m. I just casually just woke up 5 a.m. just like looking at the phone, being on the bed. I was like, oh, Piastri signed for Alpine. I was, oh, what a nice move. Scroll down 1 second later, Piastri's
Exactly.
statement.
It was really shocking because I don't think we've seen anything like that ever.
At least not for quite a long time, at least. Or at least while we started watching Formula One.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we have seen anything like this. So that's the season, I guess. So yes, I guess, guys, that wraps up our episode for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the episodes. Be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms. Give us the support. We really appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and we hope we can do for the Belgium Grand Prix, where I am going to be attending the Belgium Grand Prix in person.
That is
So
right.
yes, so maybe I can give you the inside scenes, or maybe some can put bug the Ferrari garage with some microphones to give you exclusive insights into why Ferrari are screwing up their strategies. But yes, that's all from us today, guys. See you guys next time. Have a good evening. Bye bye.
Ciao, guys.